Steve Parish and Barry Nutley.
20 laps then await the 750s, the final race here at Mallory Park. Magnificent crowd in superb end of summer weather. Probably one of the biggest crowds we've seen here at Mallory Park. Riders now completing the warm-up lap. 1.37 miles, the Mallory Park circuit in the spectacular Leicestershire countryside, off down the straight into the very, very fast Gerrards, back along Steb, straight through the S's, round the hairpin, through the bus stop, and back to the start-finish. 1.37 miles, 20 laps, 27.4 miles, the full race distance. Across the front row, Fogarty, Jamie Whitham, so that's Honda, Suzuki, McElnea on the Yamaha, Haslam on the Norton, and Morrison in pole position, 5th in the championship on another Yamaha. Just about 4 seconds separating the entire grid of 32 starters. In the middle then, from Scotterthorpe in Humberside, big Rob McElnea. There he is in your picture, number 8. Just 2 points needed. He'll get 20 points if he wins the race. Away they go, everyone safely away, off towards Gerrards. The first right-hander, a lightning start by number 9, Carl Fogarty. Fogarty then diving into the lead. Tim Bourne, number 33 on the Kawasaki, well in the thick of the action. A long sweeping corner, hard on the right-hand side of the tyre, this one, I would imagine, Steve.
Yeah, it's a very long corner, and it's the tyre gets very hot and starts getting slippery. McElnea looks for the inside as they go into the S's, and he nips through past Carl Fogarty. This was his race tactics, to get a good start, try and get away and keep out of trouble, and it looks like that's what he's doing at the moment.
The Norton team, and that's Ron Haslam, number 20, right in the back of the picture, in the thick of the action there, number 20, the black Norton ridden by Ron Haslam. The Norton team have been burning the midnight oil, modifying the bike to try and get it off the line. It was apparently to no avail there, because Haslam had another sluggish start, but he's in 7th place now. We've seen him work from the back. Race leader number 8, McElnea. Then it's number 9, Carl Fogarty. There is last year's championship winner, Terry Rymer, number 1. Haslam, number 20, with still quite a bit to do, but not nearly such a big disadvantage as we saw Haslam endure at Alton Park. Ahead of him, number 17, Ray Stringer, who lives just down the road at Stoke Golding and knows the Mallory Park circuit intimately. Stringer then is going to fall to Haslam, but look at the juggling at the front. Reynolds then up to 2nd, number 6 on the green Kawasaki. Rob McElnea not having this one all his own way, but he's going to be riding, I suspect, steadily, to say the least. Yeah, the last thing he needs to do is to make any mistake, because he has to cross that line, and he does really need those 2 points to clinch the championship here today. But he's in a nice position. He doesn't really want to be bunched up with too many other people making mistakes around him. He's in the right position at the moment if he can just hold that. But John Reynolds is pushing hard. Carl Fogarty and Terry Rymer having a real battle. The second place man, number 6, John Reynolds, has also had some machine improvements done. Reynolds, number 6, on the green bike. You're watching him now diving through on the inside into the lead as I speak. So up into the front goes John Reynolds. He had all sorts of problems grounding his boots on some of the corners. They've actually raised the footrests on that Kawasaki 20 millimeters. May not sound a lot, Steve, but significant. Yeah, a great deal, because when you're going around Gerrards Bend, the long corner, the fast corner, 125 miles an hour corner, the machines are heeled right over with everything nearly on the deck. Looking there, Jamie Whitham is a fast man here. He's come through and he's just passed Carl Fogarty, so watch out for Jamie Whitham, number 5. Jamie Whitham then on the Suzuki, tucked in there after having a terrific dice. There we are. That's Jamie Whitham, number 5, in 4th place. Ahead of him, the 2 Yamaha teamsters. Rob McElnea, series leader, teammate Terry Rymer, who's been all across the world this year in World Superbike, having had a fairly unhappy season. And I think it's fair to say, Steve, that Terry's confidence has been taking just a bit of a knock lately. Whitham then round the outside of the hairpin, leaning on Terry Rymer, almost falling. Jamie Whitham right back on form. Jamie is riding very, very hard. It was said 2 weeks ago that he's got a 6-foot-long motorcycle. It's 5 foot wide the way he's riding it. He's riding extremely hard at the moment, and it has to be said that his machine is a little dated compared to the Yamahas that he's fighting against. The race leader, number 6, John Reynolds, is currently in 3rd place in the championship on 94 points. And I remind you that the race win will net 20 points, and we have another 750 race later on in the programme here at Mallory Park. So Reynolds, if he pulls this one off and repeats the dose, could even, and I'm trying to do the rudimentary maths, could even maybe overtake Ron Haslam in the championship and take the coveted second place. But Whitham now is diving up again on the inside of Terry Rymer. Race leader number 6, John Reynolds from Nuttall in Nottinghamshire, still out there. Right with him then, series leader with just 2 points needed. Look at Haslam, number 20 as well. Haslam now in 6th place on the Black Norton. There he is behind Fogarty. Right behind Haslam is number 17, Ray Stringer. Nothing like Alton Park. They are really sticking together here at Mallory.
Yeah, well, with it being a much shorter circuit, it's hard for Ron to make up the time because there isn't so many long straights, but he's just done an outstanding thing, trying to ride around the outside of Carl Fogarty round Gerrards. He couldn't manage, he pulled back on the inside. He'll use the speed of the Norton and go up the inside, which he's done as they break into the S's. So Haslam's moved up another place. Number 20, Ron Haslam on the Norton, slipped through now into 5th spot.
Thrilling two-wheel action here in round 6 of the Super Cup at Mallory. Haslam then doing his stock performance all the way through from the middle of the field, looking at the coveted leading position. Number 20, Haslam. Fogarty is slipping backwards down the order. Tail-ender there, in fact it wasn't a tail-ender, number 23, Mark Farmer, who qualified in 10th place on the rotary engine. Roton was also well in the running. There's Brian Morrison, the pole position man, number 2. So Morrison has made little or no use of that pole position. He's really had to fight off a challenge from the men who have screamed past. Reynolds, number 6, still out in front. Then it's McElnea, teammate Rymer, Jamie Whitham on the Suzuki, Ron Haslam on the Norton, and Ray Stringer, who is the local man and won 3 out of 3 here at the transatlantic races in May, knows this circuit like the back of his hand, is in 6th place. Meanwhile, it's all going on here at the chicane with Reynolds narrowly holding off the lead from Rob McElnea.
Terry Rymer's doing a great job as a teammate to Rob McElnea's holding back Jamie Whitham, but having said that, Reynolds is going for it. Rob McElnea's looking for the inside as they come into Gerrards, but decides better. But Terry Rymer's sticking as his rear guard on the back of Rob McElnea, number 8 there.
Well, as I said earlier, not only have the footrests been raised on that green Kawasaki out in the lead, but also they've lowered the rear end, which has made the bike sit down better on the tarmac. It's made it firmer down the straight and tighter, but he's now got the 2 Yamahas swarming all over the back of the team green Kawasaki. Rymer is now up to 2nd, having shaken off Jamie Whitham, gone past teammate Rob McElnea. Now, would that be in the team orders?
Well, they have no team orders. In fact, Rob McElnea only has to finish in the top 14 spots to clinch the championship, so it's everyone for his own at the moment. Terry Rymer is desperately in need of a good result here today. He's had some bad luck really in the World Superbike Series, but he's back bang on form at the moment and looks like a potential winner.
20 laps the full distance. We are not yet halfway. Race leader number 6, John Reynolds. Still it's Terry Rymer from Barnhurst in Kent. The young South Londoner, last year's Super Cup champion. That's why his Yamaha carries the number 1 spot. Then it's McElnea, then it's Whitham. Stringer then is back past Haslam. There is Mark Farmer on the Roton. That is the rotary engine machine which Steve Spray rode to a single World Championship point in the Australian Grand Prix. Number 23, Mark Farmer then, who put his leg across that motorcycle for the first time on Wednesday and was so impressed after 18 laps of this circuit. Brian Crichton said, would you like to race it? He qualified 10th fastest, and that, Steve, is a very creditable performance.
Yeah, because talking to Mark earlier, he said he's never ridden anything quite like it. So to make the transition to this machine on a day here with all the very strong competition is a great feat from Mark Farmer.
Ron Haslam's progress then up through the field. He is still in 6th place. Terry Rymer is now in front. He has gone past John Reynolds. So John Reynolds, number 6, is in the runner-up spot. This man, number 20, Ron Haslam, is in 6th, but having a look at the wide line at the hairpin, he's right over the back of Ray Stringer. McElnea is having a very careful ride, trying to stay out of trouble, number 8. Rob McElnea and Ron Haslam, these are the 2 men both of whom can win the championship, but one of them will have a much easier job than the other.
Yeah, well, it has to be said, for Ron to win the championship or have any chance, he has to win this race. And as we spoke earlier, Rob McElnea doesn't have to be in the top 14. So Rob, I think, has decided now he's had a go at the front. The pressure's a bit hot. He's going to sit there and just finish this race and go for it in the second leg. But the wisest thing to do is to just finish in the top 14.
Well, it's ironic, Steve, that Ron Haslam is now in the position he would have loved to have been in just about every other race this season. He's been runner-up to Rob McElnea oh so many times.
Reynolds goes back up the inside as they go into Shaw's hairpin, so he now takes the lead. John Reynolds riding very, very well. In fact, Terry Rymer has the softer tyres on than Rob McElnea, so he's going to be able to get the pace going at the early stages, but Rob could be there at the end, running the harder compound tyre, which really gives longer life to the tyre, so he's going to be there at the finish, and we'll have to see whether Terry can hold this sort of speed all the way through the 20 laps.
Just as an aside, there is a special prize of £1,000 for the first solo rider who laps this Mallory Park circuit in excess of 100 miles an hour, and they are literally just fractions away from that. That's an interesting extra incentive, £1,000, no small beer.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be thinking about it at the moment. They'll be going as fast as they can to win the race. But like you say, they are only 2 or 3 tenths off of making that time. Jamie Whitham up the inside now. He nips through past John Reynolds to take second spot.
Well, you would not believe, would you, that this is the race for the lead of this 750cc round 6 at the Supercup. All these riders right in the thick of the action for the leading place. Down in third place then, number 6, John Reynolds. Right past him is Jamie Whitham, number 5 on the Suzuki. Out in the lead on lap 13, Terry Rymer, last year's champion, number 1 on the Yamaha. Tailenders then ahead of them as they go past, and Whitham now has gone through into the lead almost. No, 41 a tailender is in the way of Terry Rymer, and that was close. That was close. That was Martin James from Coventry then, getting a shave then from Terry Rymer. Ron Haslam is almost up into second place, just Jamie Whitham then in front of him. So Haslam, number 20, looking for the win in this one. He has to win it, and he has to hope that something happens.
Okay, here we've got Terry coming up. You'll be wondering which side of Martin James to go, but he chooses the right side, because if you look, he actually makes some ground on Jamie Whitham. Jamie Whitham follows him through on the outside, but Ron Haslam has to take the inside line, so it didn't do Terry Rymer any harm whatsoever there.
Out in front then, head down and going well, Terry Rymer, but right in his slipstream, number 5, Jamie Whitham on the Suzuki. Equally close to Whitham, number 20, Ron Haslam on the Norton, the man who is in second place in the championship. Rymer leads, then it's Whitham from Haslam. You're looking at those 3. Race Stringer in 4th. John Reynolds, having led for so long, is now down in 5th. And Brian Morrison, pole position man, 6th place. I can only suspect that maybe John Reynolds has encountered some problem. Could it be tyres?
Could easily be tyres. It's only, when I say only, it's a 20-lap race, which only really means 26 miles, but it's a lot of laps around Mallory Park, and it's very, very hot here today. So the tyres will be taking a real bashing. So I can only assume, like yourself, Barry, that John Reynolds does have a few tyre problems there, but none for Terry Rymer at the moment. But there's still a long distance to go, and as we say that, Jamie Whitham looks to the inside, but decides better. So Terry Rymer, in fact, okay, well, earlier on he was helping Rob McElnea by being rear guard, but now he's helping him, because if he wins the race, there's no way Ron Haslam can beat him in the championship.
Well, that's one of the Green brothers, a tailender, about to be lapped as Whitham dives through at the hairpin into the lead. Jamie Whitham has gone. Ron Haslam also making an opportunist move on Terry Rymer, but there is a tailender now well and truly in the way. It's Andy Green, number 64 now, having been overtaken, swarming all over him. They've gone past. Whitham still in front. Rymer, then it's Haslam, number 20, in 3rd. That is the 3rd place man, and Ray Stringer is equally close. Jamie Whitham really back on form. He's just progressed this season in leaps and bounds, looking, I would suspect, to a very, very good 1992. Number 5, Jamie Whitham from Huddersfield.
Yeah, Jamie had a pretty lean last couple of years, but he's really back on form now. That tail ender didn't do Ron Haslam any favours at all. It was on Gerard's corner, so he had to take a wide line, and you can see now he's lost some ground.
almost 3/4 distance, and Ron Haslam, number 20, is going to have to really work like there's no tomorrow to do anything better than third. Andy Green then, the tail ender, now well and truly behind the leading six as they make their way with a clear track ahead of them. Jamie Whitham, number 5, race leader still. What sort of speed, Steve? Gerrard's on a big bike.
Gerrard's is taken in 5th gear. There's a 6-speed gearbox. They go down 1 gear as they enter, and it's about 130 miles an hour corner, accelerating to 135 on the exit as they enter the main straight.
Well, they have it, no margin for error, obviously, and not a very big runoff area. In fact, Gerrard's is being extensively reworked right now as Whitham locks up his back wheel into the hairpin. Through, still there, Whitham, but look at Terry Rymer and look at Haslam, and Reynolds now is coming back on the charge. Haslam in 3rd, but John Reynolds, number 6, on the green. Kawasaki still in 4th. There is Ray Stringer. There is Jamie Whitham just out in front. Ray Stringer back down to 5th. But it's all happening.
Yeah, it really is. Rob McElnea sitting there in 6th spot. He's quite safe in that spot, so there's no problems there. But Jamie Whitham is riding at 110%. We saw him come into the hairpin with the rear wheel locked up. He ran very, very wide and nearly let Terry Rymer go through and back into the lead.
Number 5, Whitham then. Another tail ender ahead of him. Number 34, that's Andy Corbett. Oh, and that was touch and go. Terry Rymer almost put his knee on the rear wheel of Jamie Whitham, and that gave Haslam the opportunity really to close then. John Reynolds equally close. My goodness me, this is one of the closest 750cc races we've ever seen, but we were expecting it here at Mallory.
Yeah, Terry looked to the inside there, but he just couldn't quite make it and runs wide. Came very, very close to clipping his knee on the back of Jamie Whitham's bike, which, as you rightly said, let Ron Haslam close right in.
Haslam capitalised on that, and we're now looking at 4th and 5th places as Brian Morrison is having a degree of rejuvenation, I think, here. Pole position, man. This is the race leader still, Jamie Whitham. Another tail ender in the middle of the traffic, but it's looking now as though the Suzuki man, young 23 years of age, James from Huddersfield, and the battle for 3rd place is frantic stuff between Haslam, Reynolds and Morrison. 35, the tail ender being relegated, Graham Ward.
That was unfortunate for Jamie Whitham. It allowed Terry Rymer to close because he got held there by number 35 at the back marker. So this is Terry Rymer's last chance, really. He's going to be trying to get in the slipstream as they come down to the S's and maybe go through on the inside, if not at the hairpin.
Only 1 win under Terry Rymer's belt this year. In fact, we've only had 4 winners in the 750cc class this year. McElnea has taken the lion's share with 7 wins. Haslam also has had a win. Mackenzie, who's no longer in the suit, underfaller there. Number 36 down running away, that's Paul Devin. Bike being picked up, track clear, but out in front, it's Whitham. 1 lap to do. And the checkered flag is out. Checkered flag is out. Whitham got it. The last lap flag was also being shown here. A little confusion. What a battle then between those two. The Suzuki man just about squeezed home. Terry Rymer won't be too disappointed with that 2nd place, because that should do something to restore some of his morale. Haslam, I guess, had to settle for 3rd. Nothing he could do but that. Confirmation then of that win. Jamie Whitham, Terry Rymer, Ron Haslam. John Reynolds recovered. Brian Morrison, and Rob McElnea is the new 750cc Supercup champion for 1991.
Yes, our congratulations to Rob. There's confirmation at 6th place for him. Good enough to clinch the title, make him the British champion. His main rival, Ron Haslam, in 3rd place, but assured of the runner-up place in the championship and in 2nd place. But a fine win in today's first leg for Jamie Whitham.